What do you call it when a hip-hop power couple turns their empire into a reality show finale that even Zeus Network would reject for being too messy? You call it the Harris family meltdown, the divorce, the disownment, and the arrest drama that just made the Kardashians look like choir practice. Yes, buckle up. Because Tiny has officially ended her marriage after T.I. pulled the coldest stunt of 2025, disowning his son, King Harris, in the middle of a stunning arrest scandal. Forget parenting. Forget privacy. This was the family equivalent of throwing your kid's PlayStation out the window during a thunderstorm. And Tiny? She didn't just roll her eyes and move on. No, she grabbed the divorce papers like they were a winning lottery ticket and walked away from the family hustle with the same energy Beyoncé had when she told us she was irreplaceable. This isn't gossip. This isn't a drama. This is a dynasty collapsing live, and the internet can't stop eating it up. Fans are gasping, haters are celebrating, and Twitter is already drafting the Netflix script. Welcome to the Harris family implosion. And trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. The Harrises once sold themselves to the world as the family hustle, a southern hip-hop dynasty balancing trap music, reality TV, and family values. But behind the glossy photos and wholesome slogans, the cracks were already there. And when King Harris got himself tangled in an arrest scandal that spiraled faster than a TikTok dance challenge, the entire empire collapsed in real time. King Harris has always been the loudest character in the Harris lineup. Spoiled, cocky, reckless, a kid who carried himself like the heir to the trap throne. Except instead of ruling the streets, he kept stumbling into headlines that screamed out of control. This time, though, he graduated from messy antics to full-blown scandal. His arrest was the spark that set fire to a dynasty built on hustle, loyalty, and Instagram-perfect images. But the real bombshell wasn't the arrest itself, it was T.I.'s reaction. Forget the proud father defending his son. Forget the spin doctor PR statement about learning experiences. No, T.I. went nuclear. He disowned King, loudly, publicly, with all the subtlety of a marching band on steroids. One minute he was the father knows best rapper turned reality star, and the next he was up on his soapbox saying, "That boy ain't mine." Social media collectively gasped. Because this wasn't tough love, this was ice cold. Imagine your dad going on live TV and declaring, "Nope, don't know him," while your mugshot is still trending. That's not parenting. That's a cultural assassination. And the internet, of course, ate it up. Then came Tiny. For years, she's been the stand-by-your-man type, surviving T.I. scandals, cheating rumors, and reality TV blow-ups. She put up with his swagger, his stubbornness, and his ego. But the moment he threw their son under the bus like yesterday's mixtape, Tiny had enough. She didn't just pack a bag. She filed divorce papers. Bold, clean, final. Her timing? Impeccable. The ink on King's arrest report was still drying when Tiny dropped her own bombshell. She was done with T.I. after decades of ride or die. She chose ride or divorce. The internet exploded. Fans couldn't believe she actually pulled the trigger. The comments were merciless. Tiny said, "If you're cutting off our son, I'm cutting off you." Memes rolled out like an assembly line. One showed T.I. in the Fast and Furious meme pointing. Family? Nah. Another had Tiny walking out of a courtroom with Beyoncé's irreplaceable lyrics pasted over her head. To the left, to the left. Even Netflix's official Twitter account chimed in with a cheeky, "This feels like a limited series waiting to happen, but let's not act like this came out of nowhere." Insiders had whispered for years that Tiny was already fed up. The arrest was simply the breaking point, the spark to ignite years of resentment. Think about it, T.I.'s public disownment wasn't just cold. It was humiliating for King, for Tiny, and for the brand they built together. By drawing such a hard line, T.I. didn't just alienate his son, he alienated his wife. Tiny didn't want to co-star in the family hustle, deadbeat dad edition. So she rewrote her script and exited stage left. The reactions split fans into camps. Team T.I. defended him. That's tough love. Sometimes you gotta teach kids the hard way. Team Tiny praised her. Finally, she stopped putting up with that man's ego. And Team King? Well, they mostly spammed clown emojis and captioned memes with "Congratulations. You played yourself." The press feasted on the fallout. Gossip blogs ran headlines like "Family hustle becomes family bustle." Talk shows roasted it, with one comedian quipping, T.I. cut off his son and lost his wife in the same week. That's not family hustle, that's family shuffle. Even mainstream outlets jumped on it, treating the Harris implosion like a cultural event, but beneath the comedy was a darker narrative. The Harris brand was built on family unity. They marketed themselves as a dynasty that survived anything. Now, that dynasty was unraveling on every platform imaginable. Divorce filings, disownments, arrests, all the dirty laundry dumped into the group chat of America. And the gossip didn't stop at memes. Alleged insiders whispered that the divorce was more than emotional, it was financial warfare. With years of assets tied together, homes, royalties, reality show contracts, splitting up wasn't just personal, it was a million-dollar battle. Tiny filing wasn't just about walking away from T.I., it was about walking away with half the empire. King, meanwhile, became the internet's favorite punching bag. Memes replayed his cocky interviews side by side with his mugshot. TikTok edits looped his "I'm grown, I'll do what I want" lines over headlines about his dad disowning him. The humiliation wasn't just local, it was global. One fan summed it up perfectly. King Harris is the chaos MVP of 2025, arrested, disowned, and responsible for his parents' divorce. Hall of Fame mess. By the end of the first wave, the Harris implosion was bigger than a scandal. It was a cultural event, dissected in real time by fans, stans, haters, and every bored person with Wi-Fi. And the collective conclusion? The family hustle was officially over, but if you thought that was the peak of the chaos, you'd be dead wrong. Because scandals don't stop with the truth. They evolve, mutate, and spin into new headlines. And the Harris implosion was just getting started. If part 1 was the opening explosion, part 2 was the mushroom cloud, because once Tiny's divorce filing hit the blogs, the whole internet turned into a global roast session. This wasn't just gossip anymore. This was appointment entertainment. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram all behaved like they'd just been handed a new season of reality TV, and the Harris family had no choice but to star in it. The memes came first, and they were merciless. One viral edit slapped T.I. and King Harris into the famous Maury set. In the case of King Harris, you are not the son. Another had Tiny in a Photoshop of Rihanna's anti-album cover with the text, "Tiny's anti-marriage era." TikTok flooded with parody skits of T.I. slamming doors while yelling, "That boy ain't mine." Meanwhile, people staged mock divorce filings in their living rooms to the tune of Usher's Papers. Within 24 hours, the Harris scandal had become a meme economy that made Dogecoin look stable, and you knew the celebrity peanut gallery couldn't resist. 50 Cent, never one to let a messy moment pass him by, posted an Instagram story. First rule of family hustle: don't hustle your family. He didn't even tag T.I., but the internet connected the dots faster than a Reddit conspiracy theorist. Cardi B weighed in during a live, laughing as she said, "Tiny really said, 'Not my circus. Not my clown.'" The comments section lost its mind. Even Snoop Dogg jumped in, simply tweeting, "Divorce papers louder than diss tracks." That one tweet had over 1 million likes. Reality stars, bloggers, and influencers piled on. Former Love and hip-hop castmates wrote cryptic posts like, "Always knew she'd leave eventually." Jason Lee teased on his show that more tea about the Harris household is coming soon. Suddenly, everyone with a mic or a ring light was cashing in on the Harris implosion. Fans were even messier. Twitter spaces with thousands of listeners turned into virtual town halls, debating whether T.I. was right to disown King or whether Tiny was the true hero for finally bouncing. One top comment read, "King Harris managed to do what side chicks, scandals, and reality cameras couldn't end his parents' marriage." Another said, "This isn't family hustle, it's family bustle. And I'm here for it." Savage. Then the conspiracy theories arrived. Because no modern scandal survives without Reddit and TikTok detectives turning it into a Marvel timeline. Theory number 1, the entire mess was staged for a Zeus Network spinoff. Memes advertised the fake show, Tiny's Revenge, coming soon. Theory number 2, T.I.'s disownment wasn't about morals at all. It was about protecting his brand and business deals from King's arrest fallout. Theory number 3, the wildest one suggested Tiny had been sitting on dirt for years and used King's arrest as her golden excuse to torch the marriage without looking like the villain. Were any of these true? Probably not. Did the internet care? Absolutely not. Because scandals don't run on facts, they run on chaos. on facts, they run on chaos. And the Harris scandal wasn't just trending, it was dominating. Hashtags like hashtag family hustle over, hashtag team tiny, and hashtag king chaos were plastered across every timeline. TikTok edits played Usher's confessions over montages of T.I.'s old interviews about loyalty. Instagram Reels spliced Tiny's old reality show clips with Beyoncé's Irreplaceable. The scandal had turned into a cultural mixtape, remixed, roasted, and re-uploaded until even people who'd never heard of the Harrises were suddenly invested. Meanwhile, King Harris himself became the internet's favorite punching bag. Clips of his past arrogance resurfaced, him bragging about being grown, about being untouchable. TikTok stitched those clips against his arrest headlines and his dad's disownment with captions like, "Life came at him fast." Another edit showed his mugshot fading into a family photo with a giant red X over his face. One brutal comment summed it up. Bro went platinum in scandals before he went platinum in streams. The drama escalated into the financial arena too. Divorce isn't just a breakup, it's a money war. Fans speculated wildly about assets, Tiny about to take the house, the cars, and the theme song royalties. YouTubers uploaded explicable videos breaking down what happens when hip-hop empires split in court. The Harris name wasn't just trending as gossip, it was trending as case law, and then came the brand fallout. Rumors started swirling that endorsements tied to the Harris family quietly paused. A sneaker collab was allegedly shelved. Streaming platforms reportedly froze reruns of Family Hustle to avoid being tied to the scandal. Whether true or not, the narrative took off. King's arrest had triggered a domino effect that wrecked not just his image, but his parents' bag. One viral tweet captured it perfectly. King Harris fumbled his freedom, his dad's respect, and his mom's marriage in 1 week. That's a hat trick nobody wanted. The scandal spiraled so far it broke into mainstream late-night comedy. Jimmy Fallon cracked. T.I. disowned his son. Tiny filed for divorce, and somewhere King Harris is like, "At least I'm trending." Trevor Noah joked, "This isn't family hustle, it's family hustle. Bustle and divorce court." When late-night comedians start joking about your family implosion, you've crossed over from scandal to cultural phenomenon, and yet beneath the memes, the shade and the laughter, the tone shifted. Fans started asking the heavier questions. What happens to the younger Harris kids? How does divorce reshape the empire? What does this mean for King's future, both legally and personally? Suddenly, the Harris family wasn't just gossip fodder. They were a case study in what happens when fame, family, and ego collide. By the end of the second week, the Harris implosion wasn't dying down. It was mutating. New rumors, new memes, new theories. Blogs whispered that Tiny might be prepping a tell-all. Fans begged her to do a red table talk. Jason Lee teased receipts that could drag T.I. further. The cliffhanger energy was unbearable, because scandals like this don't end. They evolve. And this one was already writing its next act. When the smoke cleared from the Harris family implosion, the landscape looked like the remains of a house fire. Scorched walls, shattered windows, and no hope of returning to normal. What began as King Harris's arrest had escalated into a dynasty collapse. And now the fallout was everywhere, reputations trashed, money on the line, and the internet unwilling to let anyone breathe. Tiny, once a loyal wife cast as the background singer in her own marriage, suddenly emerged as the lead vocalist of her own anthem. Filing those divorce papers made her the internet's new poster child for finally choosing yourself. Overnight, she was rebranded. Talk shows hailed her as brave. Podcasts spun it as empowerment. Fans filled comment sections with, "Tiny really said, I choose me." She wasn't running from the chaos, she was cashing in on it. People were already predicting a memoir, a talk show tour, maybe even a Zeus Network special called Tiny Unplugged. Meanwhile, T.I., Mr. Hustle, the father figure, the man who once lectured us about loyalty and discipline, looked like he'd been hit with a karma grenade. Some fans defended him as a tough love dad, but the louder voices weren't buying it. They dragged him for being colder than an Atlanta iced tea in December. Memes compared him to Disney villains. Scar disowned Simba, T.I. disowned King. The family man image he built for decades was gone. And without Tiny by his side to soften the edges, T.I. wasn't just single, he was vulnerable, but the biggest loser in this entire saga? King Harris himself. He thought he was untouchable, the prince of trap royalty, the kid who could flex his way into a throne. Instead, he became the internet's cautionary tale. Arrested, disowned, and blamed for sparking a divorce, he didn't just fumble his own image. He torched the family brand in the process. TikTok edits had him labeled as the Chaos MVP, the guy who accidentally accomplished what no side chick, no cheating rumor, no reality TV feud could. He ended his parents' marriage. Brutal, but accurate. And while reputations burned, the financial war kicked off. Divorce isn't just emotional, it's a full-scale battle over dollars. The Harris empire, homes, royalties, reality show money, investments, suddenly became a chessboard. Lawyers were circling like vultures. Fans speculated wildly. Tiny about to take the house, the cars, and the trap catalog. YouTube finance channels started dropping breakdowns of how millions might get split. In the court of public opinion, Tiny was already the victor, walking away with half the empire and double the dignity. Brands weren't waiting around either. Allegedly, endorsements linked to the Harris name paused overnight. Reruns of Family Hustle disappeared from some streaming platforms. The message was clear: scandals don't sell sneakers or subscriptions. In one swoop, King Harris's arrest didn't just ruin his own prospects, it cost his parents millions. A viral tweet nailed it. King Harris fumbled his freedom, his dad's respect, his mom's marriage, and the family bag. Legendarily later, the younger Harris kids were dragged into the spotlight too. Comment sections asked, what happens to them now? Memes cast them as characters in a fake Netflix spin-off, The Little Harrises, surviving the fallout? Cruel? Absolutely. Viral? Without question. The internet wasn't just dissecting T.I., Tiny, and King, they were analyzing the entire bloodline like it was royal gossip. And as the dust settled, the Harris family saga transformed from a messy scandal into a cultural case study. This wasn't just about a celebrity arrest or a celebrity divorce. It was about what happens when fame, family, and ego collide at full speed. The Harrises had once sold unity, hustle, resilience. Now they were selling betrayal, chaos, and divorce papers. It was the ultimate brand flip. Tiny became the phoenix, rising from the ashes. T.I. became the cold patriarch, dragged for putting pride above blood. King became the Nepo baby disaster, the ultimate cautionary tale. And the internet? The internet got exactly what it wanted: endless content. But scandals like this never end, they just reload. Jason Lee was already teasing more receipts. Gossip blogs hinted that Tiny might finally spill years of secrets in a tell-all. Fans demanded Oprah or Jada Pinkett give her the red table treatment. And Zeus Network? You know they're drafting contracts already. From Family Hustle to family breakup, the untold story. The final irony? For all the damage, for all the humiliation, the Harris name was bigger than ever. Streams surged. Views skyrocketed. Social engagement hit all-time highs. People weren't supporting the Harrises out of love anymore. They were watching out of morbid fascination. Fame doesn't die in a scandal, it mutates. And this scandal made sure the Harris family would live forever in internet infamy. So, what's next? Does T.I. crawl back with a redemption arc? Does Tiny write her tell-all and land on every talk show? Does King Harris livestream his I'm back moment? Or does another bombshell drop that makes all of this look tame? One thing is certain, the Harris saga isn't ending here. It's just the cliffhanger before the sequel, because in 2025, scandals aren't finales. They're franchises. And there you have it. The Harris dynasty didn't just stumble. It face-planted harder than a TikToker trying parkour on wet pavement. King Harris's arrest sparked the fire. T.I.'s cold disownment poured on gasoline. And Tiny slammed down divorce papers like a judge delivering a death sentence. This wasn't just family drama, this was a cultural demolition derby. And everybody had front row seats, but let's be real. This is just season 1. Scandals like this don't wrap neatly with credits. They evolve, they metastasize, they grow sequels. Tomorrow it'll be leaked texts. Next week it'll be Tiny's tell-all. By summer, Zeus Network will probably have the rights. And we'll be right here narrating every single meltdown. So before you sprint off to join the roast session on Twitter, do me a solid. Smash that like button like it owes you rent money. Hit subscribe harder than Tiny hit those divorce papers. And ring that notification bell like you're waking up the whole neighborhood to announce the Family Hustle is officially canceled. And don't just lurk, drop your hottest takes in the comments. Was T.I. heartless or just ruthless? Did Tiny play the long game like a queen? And is King Harris the ultimate chaos MVP of 2025 or just a meme that got out of control? Here at Trend Tattle, scandals aren't news, they're sport. And we're the play-by-play you didn't know you needed. Stick around, because the next meltdown might make this one look like Sesame Street. This has been Trend Tattle, where drama lives forever. Reputations die loudly, and the tea never runs cold.